Hello, everyone. I'm 𝐆𝐀𝐋𝐀𝐂𝐓𝐈��� and welcome to this second special report this evening. This one is entitled Galactic Odyssey Astro Finances. With me tonight is my regular co-host, Janine. You can find her at Sending Ravens here on YouTube and also at Tarot by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hi, so happy to be here, you two, and everybody watching.
Thank you for being here, Janine. And of course, please welcome our new guest to the show here, Julie. From from Maison Jupiter here on her website and also here on YouTube at Maison Jupiter. Julie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jean-Claude. Hi, Janine.
How are you doing, guys?
Good.
Pretty good. Intense energy. Yeah.
Lots of energy. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Folks, thank you so much for joining us again here tonight on this second special report. It is a live interactive show. We might have time to take some of your questions later on the show, but really we're here to develop a storyboard here and a lot of new information that is hitting the field. Now, Janine, Julie, and I had decided to produce this Astro Finance episode and to publish it next week on December 16th. But because of events coming up earlier today, some of the drops that we've been collecting here, we decided that December 16th was a little bit too late. So we've actually brought this episode forward here in time to make sure that you have the information you need when you need it. And speaking of that, tomorrow night on December 11th is the premiere of this series, which was entitled Galactic Odyssey Genesis. So now we have the horse before the cart, so to speak, by doing this episode here. But you'll understand everything tomorrow when you watch this second or first, if you wish, premiere. So do stay tuned for that one tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Julie and I, and perhaps Janine also, will be in the chat section. But this is a premiere video as opposed to a live stream for tomorrow night. All right, so let's get right into it here. We have a lot of data to go into. So Janine, maybe take the next 4 or 5 minutes here to lay down some track as to what this latest drop is all about in terms of this shift that is just upon us now in terms of this financial system that is about to basically transform itself here very, very quickly. Let's start with that.
Okay, so I was watching a video that a lot of people told me to go watch today. It was Phil, and I'm not going to say his last name. And he does rapid fire. He's on BitChute. I think he's on Rumble as well. And it was a really big info drop that a lot of people are talking about. So I thought we should look through this and I'll pull some cards on it. Not that I don't trust his info, because actually I do trust his info. Whenever I've pulled cards on him, he seems right on. So he says he got this information from officialdom, as Jean-Claude likes to call it, and he didn't want to give a name, of course. But if you go watch the video, you'll get more info on where he got the info from. Okay, and first he set it up, though. But that he said something that I've been saying for probably 6 to 8 months, and I've said it many times with Jean-Claude. Whenever we look into the RV reset and or NESARA GESARA, I always get that there is going to be a form of that. It may not exactly look like everyone thinks it will, but there is going to be something like that roll out. And I always get that it was Mr. T's baby to do it, his baby. So in other words, something he was really attached to. And I always get that he'd worked of his entire presidency with not only saving the little ones, we can't say even that C word here, but not only saving the little ones, but also in our offspring, let's just say, not only that and saving trafficked human beings, but also his other big focus was redoing and rebooting the money system to be a gold-backed system, and in alliance with the idea of GESARA, NESARA rolling out. So they go hand in hand, the money system and the GESARA, NESARA, because you can't have that, the NESARA, GESARA, you can't have that without a good new money system that's backed with something solid, because the one that's crumbling now in front of our eyes is actually just a print money machine by a bunch of crooks, right? So we all agree to that. I'm pretty sure if you're on this show, you probably figured that out. Okay, now he said 3 things had to go down before or two official things had to go down. And then the third thing would be the 𝐺𝐂𝐋𝐀𝐂𝐓𝐈���.
Okay, hold on just a sec before you develop those 3 points. I just want to mention to the audience that Cliff, Bix, and I, we just did a show before this one here, and we were talking about the road to Ruta theory. So when we say that NESARA GESARA is not going to be exactly like people think, go watch this video here, because we kind of detail here the theory of maybe using Social Security to rebalance here those who had paid into system to give back to them, and basically bring some equilibrium here to the new way moving forward. So go check that episode out. It'll give you kind of an example, but at the end of the day here, nobody really knows until it's actually announced, but we're getting the feeling here that something is up. So please do go check that episode out. And now, Janine, maybe develop those 3 points.
Okay. So the first thing that had to happen, as soon as they didn't win the competition that happened last November, we're going to call it a competition. As soon as that all went into play, and they already knew that was going to happen. Okay. What they knew they had to do was really take down, because the general population literally saw, according to the news, that Mr. B actually won by a huge amount. Okay, that was the actual official report. So that was what people were seeing in the news. Not that it was true, and we know it wasn't, but that's what people saw. So they had to reverse that, where people would see somehow the truth. So they worked all this time on getting his ratings really low by putting an actor in there, or several of them, making a complete fool out of them. Like, we've been watching it like today he was at 42%, or no, I can't remember, 22%. Phil says the amount, I can't remember, 22%.
It came out last month that he was the worst rating since World War II. Yeah.
And Kamala was at 12%.
Yeah.
Approval rating. Anyway, so they had to dismantle the whole falsehood that anyone actually voted for that guy. Okay, so they did that. They accomplished that. That's pretty obvious. So we're there. We're right there. Okay, then they wanted, here's what Phil says, literally pissed off Americans. They needed to be mad enough. So when Mr. T announces his new money system and everything, it doesn't feel like a coup. Right? They'll be so happy to see him. You know what I'm saying? And then the next thing that had to happen was the Ghislaine Maxwell situation. So that all of the stuff that's coming out, and remember when I did a look at it, it looked like it might take halfway through the trial to get to the good stuff. A lot of good stuff probably already did come out, but mostly it looks like they're it looks like they're covering up a lot of things, wouldn't you say? Like, well, the mainstream media still appears to be falsifying that situation somehow, or it's downplaying it, or we're just not hearing everything. Okay, but what we get, not just to remind everybody who's watching, we get that she's already been looked after at the spa. Her real thing went down at the spa, or is going down at the spa. So what you're seeing is theater. So keep that in mind. But they needed that theater to come out and be publicly seen by the public, because it's actually in the background taking down a lot of really big names. If you look at all the CEOs and FOs and all those all those letters. Okay, look at all of those people that have stepped down, just even over the last year, but even recently in the last 6 weeks even, right? It's incredible, of course, but nobody's really talking about that yet. But they needed that trial to be ongoing, and then rolls out their version of NESARA GESARA and the new money system, which seems to come right at the same time, apparently, according to Phil. And actually, Phil had really big details about a lot of what it'll look like. Okay, so his details were like, if you have a mortgage, I'll just really sum it up. You'll have to listen to him, because he gave way more details than I'm going to give, because we don't have time to do that. But his details were generally, you're not going to be paying interest going forward on mortgages. So you'll get lent money. You'll be responsible for the money that you borrowed, but there's no interest. And if you paid interest, in all the years you were paying interest, if it came from a federal bank, which most interest loans came from, you'll be paid back the interest. but in increments, not all at once. So you'll get paid monthly amounts. And he gave 2 amounts that are potential that they're kicking around. Okay, so you'll go watch the video after this one, and you'll hear the details. And then he said, so say you still owed X amount on your mortgage, you'll pay the, what's that called? The principal.
The capital or the principal, yeah.
Yeah, and you, any interest you paid into it will be refunded to you. And going forward, you only pay what the original amount of the house was, and not the interest. So at credit cards. So credit cards, you'll get paid back for any credit card you ever held in your name. If it's on record and a Fed bank gave you the credit card, or the money can be traced back to the Fed bank, you'll be paid back any interest you ever paid on credit cards, also in increments monthly, but not all at once. And you'll be asked to pay the balances on those. If there's any balances remaining on your credit cards, you'll be asked to pay those down with the money first. And going forward, they're going to have a new way to lend people money that isn't going to involve interest. And Phil wasn't sure 100% about certain things. He didn't get around to asking this big person that was giving him all the information. He didn't get a chance to ask them about people's savings in the banks and things like that. But he did say that they have all of this stuff planned for years, and he felt sure that there's a plan for everything. People aren't going to be, they're going to gain money, not lose money. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just brilliant.
And mention also gold, silver, and platinum, how that ties into all of this is an important part here.
So the new money system going to get rolled out at the same time as this information gets put out to the public. The new money system is gold, silver, and platinum backed metals, those metals. And he was saying that gold's great and everything, but there's way more gold than they let on. So they've upped how precious gold is, and they've fooled everybody how not precious silver is. Silver is in huge demand for everything. You name it, it's used, even off-world, and especially in space programs and et cetera, et cetera. But anything going forward, it's going to involve silver if it's, going into the new world that we're creating. So silver is going to, over the next few months, and he's kind of repeating what Cliff High's been saying, Jean-Claude and I have been getting, silver's going to be the thing to collect.
Yeah. In this video here tonight too, Cliff was explaining that in the data sets from way back when that had a temporal marker linked to Veritasium, and we just hit that temporal marker 2 days ago with Veritasium obtaining their DeFi patent, which basically reverses the course here from the SEC regulations and lawsuits. In that temporal marker, we also had data sets suggesting that this would be also akin to or accumulated to other temporal markers to silver and gold ratios, where those would begin to shift, and to the point where silver would even surpass gold. So again, guys, go check out that episode here for all those details. Okay, what do I do from here? Is that it for the update, Janine? Do you want me? Okay. Yep. Why don't I bring Julie on the screen here first? Julie, your first impressions here in the last couple of days. You and I have been working on this episode here to do this Astro Finance episode for next week, but we're seeing all of these synchronicities come up. Can you speak to that in your life here, what you're seeing in the context of this conversation? Keep on the side for now all of these dates. I'll ask you that a little bit later to drill down on all the specific dates, but talk about the synchronicities and how you are also feeling, intuiting that right now we're on this cusp, as Cliff High says, at the zenith of the mountain here, and things are going to be reversed very, very quickly here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, there is a lot of elements, astrologically speaking, in December that all ties in with what Janine was saying, what Cliff High was saying about financial crash, about this peak of energy, and then the peak going down. So because we have, first of all, this Venus-Pluto conjunction that's going to happen 3 times, 2 times in December and 1 other time in March next year. So we kind of have those 3 hits between these 2 planets, and they are both financial planets, but also it's planets that talk about exchange of energy. So it can be also relationships. It can be sexual. It can also be money, because they are all exchange of energies, right? So in this particular case that we're talking about, we're going to look more at the financial aspect of it. But there's going to be 3 exact hits, because Venus is going to go retrograde from December 19. So it's going to hit Pluto first on the 11th, and then going retrograde on the 19th, and then hits Pluto again on the 25th. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just laughing because Cliff is writing down those exact numbers because he's getting emotional tension values spike here in his WebBot data. So it's fascinating you're mentioning these. Okay, so keep going, and I'll bring this video a little bit down the line where he talks about Yuletide around the 24th and the 25th again. But keep going, Julie.
Yeah, so there's going to be 3 hits. So I said first one, 11, second one on the 25th, because Venus is retrograde. And then it goes direct in end of January, and the third is going to hit on March 3rd. So many things can happen from there, but when Venus and Pluto conjunct, it talks about sort of a death and rebirth of economy. Also, China is ruled by the sign of Libra, which is also ruled by the planet Venus. So when it hits, for sure, there's going to be a huge impact on China's economy. And also when it goes retrograde on the 19th, there's also a full moon there on the 19th. So I'm going a little bit everywhere right now, but it all ties in together with what Janine was saying, because on the 19th, when Venus is going retrograde, so I think it's really going to impact China's economy a lot. At the same time, we have this Gemini full moon, and which makes it very important, because when we have a full moon, there's the sun opposing the moon, right? In the Gemini Sagittarius axis, which is the axis of information, axis of the search for truth. And also at the same time, we have Mercury doing squaring Chiron, and Chiron turning direct. So I think lots of information are going to come out relating to that Ghislaine Maxwell thing where we were talking about earlier. So Mercury is also the planet of little people in astrology, and when it's squaring Chiron, which is wounds, healing, it's a tough aspect, so we can expect shocking revelation about all this. And I think it ties in also with the financial world.
Wow.
On the 19th.
Okay, that's a lot to take in. Thank you so much, Julie. I'm going to come back to you, Julie, and we're going to start on December 11th. You're going to talk about this astrological alignment, what it perhaps means, and then I'll ask Janine to pull some cards for each of these dates here moving forward, so that we have a better idea here maybe on how to navigate and to correlate that with what we're seeing, both from the mainstream news, but also now coming out from alternative media. But first, Janine, what are your thoughts here on what Julie has just laid out for us? Do you want to have share maybe your opinion first, and maybe we can pull some collective cards here as to why this information is absolutely critical and important for the audience here tonight?
Well, I don't know nearly as much about astrology as Julie obviously does, but I have looked at it. It's been on my radar for about 25 years. And I probably did it in past lives, because as soon as I saw a chart for the first time, I just, instead of it looking like rocket science like it can look like, I felt really comfortable with birth charts right off the bat. So I feel like I've had some lifetimes background, but just this lifetime I haven't really polished it up. But so everything, even the little bits I did understand about what's happening, really sound exactly like what she was saying. Pluto being that such a sort of, it's sort of, I know Uranus is more the shocking planet, but Pluto just kind of erupts, like it's almost like the tower planet.
Yeah, big transformation, big transformational energy, right? Totally.
So things just completely transform. So, and Venus, so transformative around Venus. So Venus is your money for sure, but it's also going to transform relationships. sexual relationships, intimate relationships. You could meet people really unexpectedly and have a really intense connection, but you could also break up in a really dramatic way with people you've been entangled with. So yeah, it's going to affect everything Venus affects.
Exactly. So that's why we were talking about this energy exchange, which talks about finance, but also relationships. So yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So Janine, why don't we pull a few cards here specifically for the collective in understanding, navigating the information we're about to go through. And yes, somebody on the live chat was asking, hey, are you going to go through all of these dates chronologically? Yes, we're about to do that. So thank you for reading my mind. We're about to do that. But before we do that, Janine, put out some cards here on what people need to know here about this information and why it's absolutely critical for them to understand this moving forward here, as we are basically here at the 11th hour before the shift.
Wow. So it literally is the bitter end of the bad guys. Okay, so if there's anything left of their sort of reign, it's going to blow up in December, people. Okay, and this was karmically meant to be, but it was also planned on the other side with, we had a lot of help here. We had off-worlder help. This all came together with a lot of help from well-meaning off-worlders, well-meaning people in the background. We're calling Alliance White Hats. Cliff's got his own names for these people. Everybody's got a nickname for them. There's been this energy kind of coming together with a lot of help in the background to put this together. Now, otherwise, this would have been more of a disaster than it is. Like if it was not foreseen, and then things were done over even the last 20 and 30 years towards this time, okay, this would hurt the human race a lot more. We'd be in a lot of trouble right now. But I'm thinking we've been saved somehow. Even though it's been painful, it could have been so much worse. I know that's a cliche, but it could have been so much worse. I'm thinking this is the great adventure, and we all agreed to be in on this. And on some level, we unconsciously, prepared our whole lifetime for this, whoever's in the front line of it. It's going to be
it is one hell of a ride, and I can tell you, and I'm absolutely honored to be riding in the same cart with you two amazing Divine Feminine. So big thank you for being here. On that note, you just mentioned about the good guys here. This is a very important part also, and folks, again, I'm putting you to this conversation because there had been this point of contention between Big Swear at roadtoruda.com and Dekalgayer at cryptoviewing.com. They have both different ways of divining and researching and trying to forecast the future. But the point of contention was whether or not there were good guys in this whole scenario. And what Cliff is saying here, that we are about to see, and there's a pickup here in the WebBot data to suggest that the good guys, so to speak, if you want to call them that, are about to make themselves known, and that this war would break up into the open, and we would see who perhaps was pulling the strings behind all of these last moves. You just mentioned the election and Mr. T coming in and all of these things really messing about with the globalist agenda. So that's a very interesting, because that's been a debate for a number of years, and for a lot of people watching the show who are more of the half glass empty type of people, you need to know that yes, there are some people working at this. That's not to say that everything is going to be fine. As Janine and I keep saying, self-responsibility is very important. But yes, there are good guys here trying to provide for us a softer landing as opposed to the hard crash. So with that said, let me bring this poster back on the board here. And our first date, Julie, is December 11th, as Cliff was putting out here too. So explain to the audience what is aligning here for the 11th, and then I'll ask Janine to pull some cards on that to get further clarification.
Okay, so lots of stuff happening on the 11th. We have the first Venus-Pluto conjunction in the sign of Capricorn. And I forgot to say that, but the sign of the energy of Capricorn is going to be very important in the next month. Capricorn rules all pyramidal structures. So everything that's top-down authority, everything that's organized in a way that people on the top benefit from the people on the bottom working, right? So all those structures are about to die, basically, because we have this Pluto that's very important in the month of December. So we have the first Venus-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. Also, we're going to have the Sun squaring Neptune in Pisces. So that's an aspect that talks about things still being hidden. And Neptune is also the planet ruling drugs, medical, poison, toxins, if you know what I mean. So for sure, we can expect some things brewing behind the scenes, I think. Maybe some new drugs that they're going to come with. I don't know. But something's happening behind the scenes at the same time. I talked a little bit about China, so we can expect something happening with the economy of China on the 11th or around that date. For sure, something that's about death and rebirth of the economy, maybe a hit that's going to be taken. Yeah, that would make sense. Again, with this, when a conjunction happens, it doesn't mean it's good or bad. It just means that the energy is very intense. So some people might have big gains, some other people might have big losses. So it's very polarized in that type of energy. Also, there's the sextile on that day to Venus and Pluto in sextile with Mars and the South Node in Scorpio. Mars is the planet of war, is the planet of martial law. So yeah, I don't know exactly what's going to happen there. Maybe we can ask Janine about it, but for sure there's going to be maybe a display of power, a display of martial law maybe around that date. More use of money to control people, control through fear. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have in my notes for December 11th.
Wow. Okay. So just on the war front here too, Cliff was talking about just that this war would eventually break out into the open. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a kinetic war, but we would see these players acting out now, and this acknowledgement that we have been, in fact, at war for some time, even though that fact was obfuscated from us. Okay. So Janine, your first reaction on all of this, and then I'm going to ask you to pull cards on what universe wants to bring to us in terms of clarifications here.
That was something I actually forgot. And Julie, I'm really glad you brought that up about the warring aspect there energetically, and also that Saturnian with the Capricorn, because Capricorn's ruled by Saturn. Isn't that correct?
Right. Yes.
Right. So systems, everything systems. Okay. So right at the end of Phil's little spiel there, he actually says, and this part, I put the "oh my God" right next to it. So, and I forgot to mention this in my little spiel. He says that he just slipped this in right at the end. He said, martial law will step out and the military will take over banking, court systems, and school systems, and the medical system.
Wow. Okay. That's a great validation.
Wait. Hold on a second. Repeat that last statement. You were chopping up here. I want to make sure I heard that okay, Janine. The thing about the medical system. What did you just say?
So the military would declare martial law, and the military would take over all of these systems because they've completely been corrupted. School system, medical system, the court system, and the banking system.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he said that right at the end of his video. So watch his video to the end.
Okay. There's more there on the medical system here too, because Cliff was suggesting that in some of the Webbot data here, we could see some of these hospitals go under as they're trying to perpetuate this particular plan now, and these would be bought in by other people who are not attached by the standard of care type of service, and would try to start to reboot a new, more in line medical service here towards humanity. So that was in the Webbot data as well. So it's funny that you're bringing that up now. Fascinating. Okay, so what do the cards have to say here to provide more details here for the audience for December 11th?
So right around the 11th. So they'll have those things in their sights. and you'll see some discrepancies, and I don't think it all goes down that day. Okay, I don't think it all goes down that day. There's some rumblings, and you might see more military presence, even more than you're already seeing. Okay, but there's a wait, so it's not going to be exactly that day that everything gets taken over, basically.
Yeah, for me, it makes a lot of sense because it's the beginning of it, but I don't think we will be able to see the full consequences of it right on December 11th. So it makes sense.
Again, it's fascinating you said that because it's almost word for word. He said the setup starts in 11. We might not know, but it might start to rear its ugly head into physicality somewhere around the 19th of December, maybe the 21st. So we'll get to those dates here closely. Okay, Janine, any more you want to share on that, or can we move to the next date here?
Let's move on.
Okay, Julie, next date.
Okay, so next date will be December 19th. So we have Venus that's going retrograde, so being the planet of money. So we can expect economy starting to go down. Also the Gemini full moon I was talking about. So a full moon always reveals information. In Gemini, the sign of information, broadcasting information. So for sure we can see probably some shocking news. I was talking about revelations, maybe about the Maxwell thing, because also of Mercury squaring Chiron at the same time. So these are the notes that I have for December 19th.
Okay. While we ask Janine to pull some cards, Julie, can you also send me that chart and also send me the chart for the following date so I can kind of put that on the screen for the audience, for the people who are visual here, so that you can look at the chart while you're explaining those alignments. While you do that, Janine, okay. So
that could be the day, people.
The 19th.
Oh my goodness. Julie, you read cards too. Look at these cards.
It's intense, yes. It's a big confirmation.
Arcana. So disruptive. So finally the disruption. So this could be the going down of, and it could even be the stepping up of the military, but certainly the going down of the banking system, because something ends and a whole new beginning is in sight. This card brings you to the end of something that could have taken lifetimes to get here. And it'll happen very quickly and suddenly. With the tower.
And I think you were pulling this card, the Tower card, a lot when we talked about the financial aspect, right?
Yep.
Wow, that's fascinating. And what you were saying about these specific alignments too doesn't mean it's good and bad, but what you were saying is that for some people it's really, really effing bad, and for some people it's really, really good. And that also ties into the December report that Janine put out earlier in the month here about this Wheel of Fortune card, where of course people who were on the top would eventually be at the bottom. Yeah, there you go. Very good.
Totally. But I think the 19 might be especially shocking for the normies, people that are not aware of everything that's been going on for the past 2 years. So I think it's going to mostly affect them. Well, the economy is going to be affected for everybody, but information-wise,
Wow. I'm seeing reports here. Somebody's saying, hey, they declared martial law in Victoria. Okay. We can, if somebody in the moderators can send me a link to that while we're in the live chat here, I'll try to bring it up and we can probably tack it on to the end of the show to see how this ties into all of that. Julie, can you send me also now?
That's what I'm doing as we speak.
Sorry, folks, it's the first time the three of us are actually doing this concept here, and we're going to do more of these, but we're kind of just getting our sea legs on how to do this astro tarot type of reading together. So I hope you guys like it, and if you do, hit that like button. Let us know that you love this trio here between Janine, Julie, and myself, and encourage us to do even more of these shows. Okay, so I have the next following date here. I'll bring that up on the screen. Julie, okay, so what are we looking at now?
Okay, so next one is going to be December 21st, and I think this is a very interesting date on many levels. So first of all, I was sent a blog post article talking about more of the spiritual side of December 21st, saying that we were going to be like showered with a lot more light, plasma. This was going to be very beneficial for the high frequencies, basically. That's what the article was saying. And I noticed that it's on the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere, which is also what the pagans call the Yule, right? So 𝐿𝐶𝐂 did a video on that. It was very interesting. So solstice means zenith. So when we were talking earlier about this peak of energy, so right now we're definitely at the peak of it because it's going to be the zenith, the solstice. So solstice means in the northern hemisphere that we're going to have the shortest days and the longest nights. So as from December 21st onwards, we're going to have even more light. So Yule meant rebirth, but also celebration of the return of the light. So I think that's very interesting. So I think it's a very important date because I feel like the dark hats may know that their time is up.
The jig is up. Wow.
The jig is up.
Okay, Janine, let's pull some cards. And again, for the visual here, I have the alignments for this date.
Wow, things do look like they get a lot better.
Wow.
Like there's a lot of joy and abundance. We're feeling more abundant. So we're not feeling, so even though it looks like a financial crash is imminent, something must be there to come up under it, because both these cards are about abundance, joy, happiness, enjoying each other's company. So that's interesting. So this is in the past that led to that date. So there's been a lot of, we've been in a wartime. 5 of Wands is like duking it out. And in a very unique wartime, by the way, because it's a spiritual and more of an information war. And the outcome. So this is how we'll be feeling. It's going to be a very unique feeling of joy, and like we're looking at abundance. So we're looking forward to abundance, and we're not feeling like we don't have. We feel like we have. And the near future is justice. Then I think we're going to start hearing about what's been done in the background. Now we're going to start getting some secret tribunal info, and not just on the back channels.
Wow.
That'll come after this date you're talking about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm wow. Okay. That's encouraging, because of course a lot of us doing this work have been long in the tooth here, and we've been waiting for this time, and we were working very hard to bring this time here in front of us. What's funny here, Yukon, Cornelius, ménage à trois. Oui, ménage à trois. In fact, Julie and I are also going to be producing a French version of Galactic Odyssey. Of course, it's going to be entitled Odyssée Galactique en français avec Julie et Jean-Claude. We're excited about that. Of course, my light just changed color here for a second here. I'm blinded by the light. All right, so that will be coming up very soon here in this next couple of weeks. Okay, Julie, next slide. You sent that to me. Okay, so let me bring that up. So share with the audience here. Go ahead.
Yeah, next date is going to be, well, it's kind of mixed between December 24th and December 25th, because it's we have powerful alignments, very powerful alignments. So I think this is basically the biggest event of December, which is the third square between Uranus and Saturn. So Saturn being the authority, the government, the regulations, the constraints that we have, and Uranus being the need to be free from those regulations, the need to be sovereign to continue our collective evolution. So we had 3 squares between those 2 planets this year, February, June, and the next one being in December. So when these 2 planets are very slow movers, so we are already feeling this energy, but again, it's gonna come to a peak on December 24th, 25th. So whenever we had those conjunctions earlier in the year, we could see that we had more constraints from the government, more regulations, also resistance from the people. So the third one is interesting because I was thinking about crypto And Uranus is the planet that talks about new technology, and in the sign of Taurus being very much a symbol of cryptos. So I was thinking about Saturn being the government and the authority squaring, so meaning like those two forces going against each other, crypto, which is basically decentralizing finance, right? So I think we can expect some regulations on crypto from the governments trying to block this decentralization of finance. Also, for sure, there's going to be more constraints, more regulations. Also, there's very strong Capricorn involved again. So authority is reinforced, and we have Saturn in the mix being the planet of Capricorn. So I think it's very much like the last attempt to square us in a way.
Okay, that's fascinating. And yes, I have to concur with you too. The Bank of International Settlements was making the rounds just this last week, warning people about decentralized finance, of how, it was fear-mongering and it would destabilize the system. Of course, it would destabilize their system, but of course it would give freedoms to humanity. So Janine, what do the cards have to say on this?
Yeah, there's one last ditch effort to desperately. So there's this card is a bit desperate, right? Because it's surrender to. So they're going to try a last ditch effort to lock people down or come up with something that scares the heck out of people. But this card's in the middle, so it's already too late. The other shadow government looks like they already stepped forward. So anything these guys do, they surrender to, they've been had. So anything that comes out is going to get quickly squashed, it looks like. And we end up, even within that, I don't even think it'll last a day or a week even. Because any of those kind of rules they're trying to put out there, because like I said, the shadow government looks like they stepped out of the shadows, which will be brilliant. And we've got this, it's like they get outed for lies. And this is the card that prevails, which is we got our sovereignty back, however you say that word. Saying the word wrong. And I'm talking to two French-speaking people, first language, and I'm asking them how to say a word.
Sovereignty.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like, so this wins like this. It'll be some posturing by the defunct system, and it'll be like almost pathetic.
Yeah.
Okay, and the only people listening might be like, and I'm saying this sort of in jest, but it's actually probably true, is my parents will for sure listen, because they listen to everything the Pope and the government say, or Fauci.
Wow.
I love them, but yeah, so people like that, so that hangers on, the desperate hangers on are they're gonna be the only ones clinging to that sort of any kind of rules that they try to force. So they're going to give a last ditch effort, but it could look rather pathetic at that point.
Wow.
Yeah, it's last attempt.
Last attempt. And what was funny, earlier in the chat here, I put it up on the screen, but somebody said, yeah, Mr. T had said that it would be a nice Christmas. So, okay, we're all looking forward for that nice Christmas. Even though here in Quebec and Ontario now, a lot of people are excluded from Christmas parties, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah. That's the way it is.
Here too. Here too.
Yeah, absolutely. Denise is saying, hey, I love this show. Having JC, Janine, and Julie on Friday night is perfect. Yes, imagine that. We might do more of these. You must be psychic, Denise. Okay, Julie, do I have the slide for a next date? Where are we going from here?
No, I haven't had time. Okay, wait for me.
That's okay. Maybe we could take a little quick break here for advertising. Janine, you and I talked about this on our last show. There might be still some time for the audience members here who are looking to avail themselves of these amazing Sending Raven products. So for those of them who are not aware of this yet, explain what's on this website here and what some of the more maybe famous products are, and how people are just really excited to maybe get this for their loved ones here for the holiday period.
Well, if you love essential oils and you love natural products. This woman that makes these products, we developed the names of them and the scents and with the intention together. But she actually, I want to just shout out Sandra Wells, actually makes the products hand makes them. And she's absolutely brilliant. She's been doing it for 35 years, 40 years probably. I've been saying she's been doing it for 35 years for at least 5 years. So I guess I better bump that up to 40 years. Yeah, you can, like, if you love patchouli, if you love ylang, if you love sandalwood, if you love orange blossom, and yeah, she uses the best grade essential oils, but she has a heavy hand with it. Okay, we're not talking really lightly scented here, we're talking like scrumptious and sensuous and delicious. So if that's not your style, really carefully read. She's got it all really listed beautifully. Every single product has very much been described, so you can know exactly what's in there, so you're not allergic to anything. She puts her actual honey from her honeybees in everything that she can, like the soaps. The soaps are amazing, by the way. She also does liquid soaps and scrubs and salt scrubs and salt soaks. And yeah, all kinds of things. There's all the scents for the chakras. So we put intentions towards connecting to different chakras with it. So we're adding some spiritual content. We have like a soap that invites romance, a soap that invites abundance. Like if you have an intention or you want to send a friend an intention, you can choose the name. We have an intuition soap. We have an inspirations. Yeah. So, and all of them have an intention connected to them. So, you know, I just think they're beautiful. And if you got a bath lover, you know, amongst your people that you're buying for, this is what I'd want, let's just say, because I love my bath.
Awesome. Very good, folks. So you can find that at sendingravens.com. And you might still get some of this before Christmas if you order like right now. So check that out very soon. At the same time here too, we are talking about the big changes here in our financial system. We're talking about the tarot aspect of it here, of course, here tonight. But if you guys want a little bit more information on how to navigate maybe specific cryptocurrencies, gold and silver, and have a better idea here of how to actually take actions with all of this information, please check out the Beyond Crypto Woo. This is the latest report here for the month of December. That is number 7. And of course, if you're new to all this, this is maybe a good place to start. But if you've been buying these over and over again, and you like the content and you're hooked on Janine and JC and all the other amazing content on the Insider Access Pass, of course, here for this time of year, we still have the Stay Connected coupon code, and that will give you 10% off the yearly Insider Access Pass. And that is available, the coupon code, now for another week or so. So it's Stay Connected, one word, and that will give you, again, access to the whole library and series, not including the courses. And on that note, too, I believe Janine and I very shortly are going to be adding some other courses to that library. So the course part is going to be different than the Insider Access Pass. The Insider Access Pass, of course, includes everything we do in terms of these series and episodes, but not the course material, just to make that clear. Okay, Janine, next date, I believe, December 29th?
Yes,
okay,
correct.
let me bring that up on the screen. And
so December 29th, we have Jupiter that's going to begin its transit in the sign of Pisces. And it's activating at the same time the nodes of the moon, which is very karmic. So this is thought to be a very great aspect, Jupiter being in the sign of Pisces, because it activates collective evolution, divine timing, destiny. Also, it will be a great time to take action on what unites us instead of divides us. Pisces is the sign of everything coming together as one, sort of being guided, divinely speaking. Also, everything that is based on spirituality, artistic pursuits are going to be very heightened. Personal development based companies also will thrive, I think, because this is going to be a huge emphasis on spirituality. And I think people will also be more guided towards those themes in their life. So it's going to spirituality is going to take a lot of value, I think. Also, we can expect maybe some financial reversals. You were talking in the earlier days about the Wheel of Fortune, I think, being like tipped. So people being on top, climbing down, and people down, climbing up. So I think it might happen around December 29th because the emphasis will be much more on spiritual rather than material energy. So people that have been doing the work, I think, will be rewarded with this transit. And for sure, it's not only December 29th because it's going to be the beginning of this transit, but it's going to usher in this energy. And also, I think we were talking a lot about need versus want earlier, JC, if you remember. And I think it's an aspect that really talks about that. What do you really want on a soul-based level more than an ego-based level, I think. So if you've been doing the work, doing some healing, I think it's going to be very rewarding.
Wow, that's beautiful. And of course, Janine and I have been talking about this for quite some time, how universe is now favoring those of us who are in service to others mode and helping humanity, as opposed to this other gang who is absolutely against us. And we're seeing that now, even if it's just with some of the new people and the talent coming on the show, including Carla at Ascension Organites. The abundance that is now coming towards these people is absolutely amazing and fast and furious. Janine.
Wow. So this card was the first card I pulled, which in this whole situation's come up often as my good military, and that's interesting. And then this is the end of something, so the long, slow end of, and then so this that's a judgment call. So the judgment call, so speeding up the end of something is what this feels like. Military speeding up the end. So if the military does step up and maybe take charge of things, it would have just happened before that, or happens on that day, or sometime around that time. That's what it looks like right now anyway. And then I had this underneath the military, so that'll be shocking to people.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so upheaval, but also revelation. So, and then I got this as my last card, revelation. As you were saying, the Wheel of Fortunes, I got the Wheel of Fortune, revelation that changes everything. So now we got to flip. So finally, maybe the normies wake up en masse, a whole lot more of them. Like I think a lot of them have it just sitting on an unconscious place, ready to be flipped. With just a situation just has to happen, and then they'll start putting it all together. Maybe I just have a lot of faith in the human race, but that's what I'm visualizing.
Yeah.
That there's a whole lot just sitting there ready to be triggered, and that this psychological prowess of the white hats, they've been working on it just like the bad guys worked on us for thousands of years. The white hats, with the help of some off-world wise ones, galactic helpers. I was talking to Brad Johnson, and he had a word for it, and I kept forgetting it, and I still keep forgetting it. Sorry, Brad. I wish you were here to tell me what it was. Anyway, the galactic, helpers, I'll just say that. They're going to help. They've helped psychologically undo. So all of this stuff that's been going on, that's a movie, okay, it's been on purpose. So this, all of a sudden, something will happen, and then it flips everybody, or a lot more people, let's say, and it tips the whole thing over. That's what it looks like.
Wow. Yeah. Let's take some time here, and I'll take a question from the audience, and I'm going to have both of you chime in on it here before we do the next January 18 date. What you were just talking about there, Janine, Cliff was developing this context about a month ago. I think it was on the Rue Woo video, and he was explaining that, yes, exactly what you were saying. At some point here, something would trigger people, whatever silo they're in. If their attention is in sports or in politics or in or the economy or whatever it was, something would happen, and then it would shake up the world to have to revisit all the other silos of information at the same time, or words to that effect. So it very much seems like that December 29 date could be on or around that. So that's interesting. So guys, go check out that video. And here Bode C is saying, what about star seeds? Will they be activated throughout this process? So first your thoughts, Janine, and then I'll ask you also about that, Julie.
Star seeds have been activated, it feels like. I feel like that's been going on for a while here.
Okay.
These feel like they're already activated. What do you think, Julie?
Do you think
you're right.
maybe not activated, but maybe upgraded, upticked, or leveled up? Maybe is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be easier for them, and starting at the end of December to do their mission. But I think they've been activated already. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a great point. Wow. Okay. Losing Rose says smash the like, everybody. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay. Next one, I guess, is January 18th. So let me bring on the slide deck for everyone to see.
So January 18 is also very important for the financial aspect in the world, because the nodes of the moon, which represent also collective karma, are going to be switching axis for the next year and a half. So we've been in the Gemini Sagittarius axis for a year and a half with the nodes. So which means that the eclipses were along this axis for a year and a half. So we've been collectively transforming along the information axis, which is Gemini Sagittarius, changing our belief systems, changing the way we consume information, changing what we think is true, what we think is right. So we've been collectively transforming along this axis for a year and a half, and then in January it shifts into Taurus and Scorpio. So this is exactly the same concept that I was talking about with Venus and Pluto being financial planets. Taurus and Scorpio are seen as financial signs, but it's also an axis of exchange of energy. So everything that you give, you take. So it ties in with the money. Big changes in our consumption of products. We're going to totally change the way we consume things, the way we see money, the way we deal with money, the structures. So this is going to be the start, but the eclipses are going to go along this axis for the next year and a half, starting in January 2022. So I think it's very interesting because the North Node, which is Rahu in Vedic astrology, is going to be in the sign of Taurus. So we can see it at the bottom of the screen on the left. No. On the top of the screen on the right, sorry. So so we can see that the nodes are always exactly opposite each other. And when we have the South Node, which is in Scorpio, we're going to detach from those themes, those dark Scorpio themes. So it's kind of a purge of everything that doesn't align with the collective anymore, being in the dark Scorpio. So we're purging the dark Scorpio themes, moving away from them. So it all includes everything that's been on a line with sex, with pornography, the networks, the enslavement, power struggles, being controlled by fear, using sex as a currency for distorted power struggles, mutual funds, old banking system also based on a pyramidal system, a few making money and the other ones being in debt pretty much. So we're going to move away from all those themes being the dark Scorpio themes. And as a collective, we're going to go more towards a more balanced Taurus themes. So this is Rahu in the Vedic astrology. So balanced Taurus themes are sustainability of resources, more financial independence, self-sufficiency. It also very much ties in with the age of Aquarius, because we're going more into a network-like structure where everybody's equal, but we're all working together to collaborate and bring what the other one is missing, sort of, as opposed to a more pyramidal structure that we had before. So sort of decentralized and rebalance, more equal. Also, Taurus talks about the old way of making products, more of a traditional way. So the soaps that Janines were talking about is a good example here. Take care of what we have already and repair the stuff we already have, as opposed to consuming without really taking care of the earth and our resources. Connecting with nature, living in harmony with earth is also a Taurus theme. Build new financial structures. It's also quality versus quantity. And we're going to value food even more, land and gardening. So I know that's a lot, but these are the notes I have.
Wow. Those are a lot of changes here for 1 year, and it very much feels like January is the initiation into all of this, and perhaps that leads us into, maybe we'll do further shows here into what Cliff calls the sci-fi world, because everything is changing on how we perceive and deal with each other here, and what we think is important, as you just mentioned, the wants versus the needs. So that's a very fascinating conversation. Okay, Janine, your cards and your thoughts on all of this.
So I'm getting that all of that could be initiated and start to move into sort of everybody's scope. Okay, but it's going to be really, really hard at that time for a lot of people who just got the Band-Aid ripped off right around sort of between the 19th and the 25th kind of thing. That's going to be, and even the 29th, what we were talking about in December. I think there's still some people going to be reeling from all of the information. And so there's going to be a lot of upheaval with people just trying to deal with what they now know. So a whole lot of us, though, are already moving forward and looking forward to everything Julie was talking about. Jean-Claude, we've even got that pretty much exactly what she was saying about coming and changes, the sort of new ways of doing things, valuing things differently, buying more things that were made in our like vicinity. Somebody made them by hand. We're going back to some older ways of doing things, but then tweaking it with some of the new technologies that are going to come in, because that goes along with the age of Aquarius, right? So we're going to do sort of more valuable things, maybe using a different technique to do them. And even a lot of the things that have been repressed, this is what I get, things that have been repressed that could last for a really long time. Like, say somebody developed a battery that could last forever, but it's been repressed, the information, because nobody can make money off a battery that lasts forever. Things like that'll start to surface. Things that are actually really valuable, that don't have to cost, like, over and over you buy the same thing, so much waste. And that would be sort of a Taurus sort of goal in a way, because we really value energy output for what we get. What do we get for what we put out? That's something. I'm a Taurus and my moon's in Scorpio. So everything you were talking about, I'm trying to move away from the traits of my Scorpio, which have been enslavement, sexual enslavement, all of this horrifying lifetimes, burned at the stake, all kinds of goodies. And I'm moving into really having an abundant and wonderfully, like, really enjoying fruits of the earth, the Taurus. I love food. I like a little too much, I'm afraid, but
Me too.
I love it so much. And I plan my whole day around what am I going to eat next? You know what I mean?
I'm a foodie as well. Don't worry.
We're going to enjoy the sensual earth again, because look at this place. And these demonics have been trying to turn it into their hell, because they like that. They want us all depressed and in pollution and hating our life and yucky yuck, when in fact we live in literal paradise. And it's not going to take much for us to remember that and wake up to that. But there's still going to be some people reeling from what just happened. So all of that gets put into motion, like Julie was saying, but I don't think, some people won't notice it, of course, yet.
Okay, very good. I love it, because this is a theme that Janine and I were developing over the last maybe 6 months, that the matrix of control on the planet now is convincing us that we are in scarcity, and they're making us fight amongst each other here for what we believe are scarce resources, when in fact the planet is abundant and has been hidden and obfuscated from us. So there's that, and there's also the fact now that universe and the energies are now favoring organic humans. So that abundance is ours. It's our birthright to be here on this planet. And this is perhaps this era here of Aquarius, where that's suddenly becomes a knowledge that we are all holding within each other. So very fascinating times. And in terms of this new organic economy that we're trying to build, I agree with both of you. And this is why Janine and I were trying to bring new talent to the show with this Who's Got Talent here. And a quick update on that. We're delayed a little bit in our episodes here. We're trying to get all the paperwork ready, and the selection committee has done a great job whittling down the list from 300 something applicants down to the top 10. We're almost there, but we have a few things to do here in the back end before we can actually go live with these episodes. So that's coming very, very soon, guys. And I'll do another video here to update on all of that maybe in the next couple of days. Speaking about this organic economy, we have a big success story also with Carla from Ascension Organites. If you guys are looking for any of these amazing pyramids that she produces for the audience, you can check that out here at Ascension Organites on Etsy. And don't forget to use your coupon code Beyond Mystic to get 10% off here of these amazing creations. Okay, we're almost there. We didn't talk about silver yet. And if I don't talk about silver, we're going to be crucified in the comments afterward. So Janine and I, of course, have been tracking silver, gold, and crypto for a couple of months in this Beyond Crypto Woo. There is, of course, this amazing prediction with cliff high of the $600 silver. This was, of course, in the same data sets as Veritasium coming back into the limelight. We've just had the Veritasium temporal marker hit. We've had all the other ones already hit in terms of the riots, the food, the shortages, and all these things. So we're here now. Let me ask Janine first to maybe pull some cards on the idea of abundance, generational wealth, and the timing here for silver moving forward. And then I'll ask you, Julie, how perhaps some of these alignments also fulfill and backstop here some of those predictions. So, Janine, what say the cards?
Well, the first thing that's happening as we speak is these guys who have been repressing silver. So that's like, this card can be a good card, but not when it's badly aspected. And I've been getting it badly aspected for some time now. So it's become my dark, or let's call it the deep state, because that's one arm of the dark cult. And that's a word we use here on the show just because we can't say the real word. Right, of that group, okay, that I'm talking about when I say dark cult. So the bankers, okay, people that originally were the bankers in what was known as the Federal Reserve, which, as Jean-Claude always reminds us, is not federal or a reserve. They don't have anything in reserve because they're this. Okay, if that doesn't tell you everything, that's them. Okay, so that they've been the ones somehow, because this comes up when we ask about silver, messing with and monkeying around with silver because they didn't want you to know how valuable it was. Okay, so then a surprise happens. We get the surprise, a little look-see at really how valuable it is, probably through the crashing of, and the official crashing of the dollar, which we know it's already crashed, but you know what I mean? When things actually become more official, and then things get, it'll be sitting pretty, not at its highest point by any means, but sitting a lot prettier by the end of December is what I get. Because be patient with it and don't let it go. Hang on to it a few more months after that, because it's just going.
Well, on that note too, let me just bring this back up. I asked Cliff the same question here in this particular video earlier tonight, and he was saying, yeah, $600 silver per ounce is just a starting gate. We're eventually going to parity with gold and then surpassing gold. So when we're sitting at $20 silver today, and we have folks like Jim Sinclair saying that today the gold price should be somewhere around $90,000 per ounce, silver has been suppressed, and there's a lot of energy behind it here to move forward really, really quickly. And I think Janine's, every time she pulls cards on all of this, is very consistent in picking the card of the, is it the Six of Wands, the movements, the fast movement?
The Eight of Wands.
The Eight of Wands,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of movement very quickly, and this, of course, is what Cliff was alluding to. And on that last point, he said, do not let it out of your hands. They will try everything to buy it from you, give you all these gifts, and convince you to get to sell it here in the next couple of months, but do not by any means let go of your silver. Julie, what do the astrological alignments tell us about why this is perhaps happening here to our precious metal, our psychic metal connected to the moon?
Well, I think when the nodes shift starting from January 18, it's gonna stay in the Taurus Scorpio axis for a year and a half. So all of 2022 and half of 2023. So I think it's going to gain even more value talking about silver and gold, because when we move away from the dark Scorpio themes, it's kind of everything that's been hidden, right? So everything that's been hidden for a while, trying to be covered up, like the real value of precious metals, and going more into what's really abundant on Earth. So you were saying that gold, we have a lot more gold than what we've been told. So I think it really much ties in with this axis. So I think it's going to gain even more value as we go along 2022 and even 2023.
Wow. Fascinating. Okay. So guys, if you are looking to get your hands on some physical silver, you can do so here at beyondmystic.net/silver. These are the discounts afforded to the Beyond Mystic audience by Miles Franklin here. Of course, there's a lot of people buying in bulk right now. It might not be for everyone, but they're going surprisingly fast. These 1,000-ounce COMEX bars offered by the Royal Canadian Mint here at $165 over spot. That's almost spot price. Crazy, amazing deal. And Andy also put on the nominations here for the people who are just starting. We're looking at the 2022 Noah's Ark silver coins, and here we have the 1 ounce coins at $375 over spot, amazing price, and the quarter ounce coins also at $245 over melt value. So please do go check it out at beyondmystic.net/silver. All right, I think what I'm going to do is ask Janine to pull some cards here. We're almost at the end of the show. Well, first of all, how's your energy? Do we have time to take some audience questions, maybe one or two, or should we wrap up? I know for me, it's my fourth show today. There's a lot going on, but I'll stay longer if you guys feel like it. So first, you, Janine, how's your energy going?
Well, my son had that big situation, so I think I'm a little tired out.
Okay.
Well, let's
call it a day. No, that's absolutely fine. I totally agree. And folks, you have to understand, Janine and I have spent quite a bit of hours on air this week, and we're trying to actually scale down so that we can do these emergency and special report shows here as we move forward in this timeline of December. So you're going to see some dislocations in our regular programming just to accommodate the fact that we need to sleep a little bit more and recoup so that we can do all of these emergency shows when they do in fact happen. Okay, so let's start here. I'll ask you the same question, Julie, after, so if you want to prepare for that. But Janine, what would be your words of wisdom here for the audience who maybe are just tuning into this information for the first time, who maybe think, oh, these guys have been saying that for 10 years, it never happens? What would be your words of wisdom here, or perhaps the cards on how to digest and also take action with this information for their highest good?
We'll ask the universe what it says.
Okay.
Beautiful. Wow. The lovers, and so very Venus-like energetically here, and then Ace, so a gift. So I think we're coming to a balance. Things have felt really imbalanced for quite a while, and it's going to feel really nice to finally get something back for all the output. So I know myself for sure, and I bet the both of you might feel the same way, but all of the output, I've been nonstop holding the line, nonstop. So many of us just working it. I got all these digital soldiers sending me everything they get their hands on. And it's because of them that seem like people always say, oh, you're so up to date with everything. Well, no, I wouldn't have a clue about it if it wasn't for my digital soldiers out there, and they know who I am. or I'm sorry, they know who they are, and they know that I love them and absolutely appreciate them. And we so deserve. And I think, Julie, you said something about this. Like, I think when you were talking about around the 25th, that date, some energy that really brings joy and abundance and sort of a celebration. Like exactly when it, I think it was on the 25th, you were saying. That's what that feels like. Don't forget to take time to really celebrate, even if you just see some of these wins this month. Celebrate it, just whatever, because a lot of stuff's going to be going on, whether we see it or don't see it. I think we're going to see it. It's looking really visual to me, but I feel like we're truly, truly moving in the right direction. So let's not forget to celebrate when we do see any of these moves and shifts, instead of just going, okay, well, where's the other one, and where, when's that next one? And let's celebrate as we go, so we can help just keep attracting it to us.
Wow, very nice. I love that. That's great advice. Okay, and how about you, Julie?
Well, the energy is very intense, that's for sure. So I think everybody's gonna need to take some time out, and it's also a very healing energy. Venus and Pluto conjunctions that's gonna happen all month. So we might need to step back a little bit from all the busy life and the busy things that we do, to take care of ourselves, take care of the people that we love. So I think this is going to be a strong theme in December. And end of December next year, I think the beautiful things are going to happen. So we have to hold on until then, focus on healing and taking care of ourselves until then.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that, and thank you so much. And guys, as Julie was talking there, I was scrolling through her YouTube channel here. It's called Maison Jupiter. Now, of course, Julie has a lot of amazing content in French, and she is also going to be starting with this series included to produce more English material as well. So if that is of interest to you, si ça vous intéresse de découvrir la magnifique Julie Daigneault de Maison Jupiter, vous pouvez le faire à ce lien ici. Donc, I'll put the link right down in the live chat now, so you guys can go like, share, and subscribe to our amazing content. And of course, stay tuned also for this premiere that we will be triple casting here on December 11th. And that is the genesis of this galactic odyssey. And as I said at the beginning of the show, if you're just tuning in now, we kind of had the cart before the horses tonight, because this specific Astro Finance show was supposed to be next week, but because of events, we've brought this one forward, and you guys haven't seen the genesis of all of this yet. So please do stay tuned tomorrow night for the Genesis show. You can watch that also on Sending Ravens or on the Beyond Mystic, but please do go check out her Maison Jupiter here on YouTube, and let's start bumping up these subscriber numbers. So a big thank you to you, Julie, for being on the show. Absolutely amazing information. And just judging from all of the comments in the chat, they're like, wow, we love you three. So now we have the amazing triune going here in effect. And I'm absolutely excited to do these shows with you guys. So merci beaucoup, Julie. And Janine, a big thank you again for you. And I know tonight was difficult with the situation with your son. So we really appreciate your time as always. And folks, please, if you want to go and support our friend here, you can find her at Tarot by Janine here on YouTube, and also on her Sending Ravens. And finally, you can also support her here. And I'm excited to share that with you again tonight, sendingravens.com for all of these amazing and beautiful products. I'm Jean-Claude Beyond Mystic, and this was episode 2 of Galactic Odyssey, of course, Astro Finance with Janine and Julie and myself. I love you guys. Take care. A lot of changes happening very, very fast. And yes, I saw a few people coming into the section here. We're probably going to have more of these special report shows here as we basically catalog and follow all of these big changes that are coming through our world. So thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and have a great evening. We'll see you soon. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.